what's going on. Oh, there we go. Good old technology again. I think that things are working now. And anyway, this morning it's a bit eccentric and a bit esoteric because I'm going on the air at 07:42, a 7:45. And I don't know why, really, because I got up very early. I did a bit of work. I went out into the garden. I had an apple. No, I didn't. I had a banana. And I had a cake and I had a cup of coffee. And then I came in and I thought it's time to go on the air with Rouser Radio. So here I am, Keith Hayes, broadcasting to absolutely nobody from Lewis, but eventually people will find us. Persistence is the most important thing in business, according to those who built McDonald's, and my golly, didn't they build an empire, and those who built Coke, another empire. They both say, take your time, keep at it until people find you and start to appreciate what it is that you have to offer. So I hope that this is what some people will appreciate that we have to offer. Haven't found it yet? You will. And then you can make up your own mind. Not hardly a Coke with a McDonald's hamburger, but nonetheless a little bit of something that's different and hopefully nice. You know, I went to bed last night pretty resentful towards the government. Oh, I know, they've actually spent loads of your cash and mine on making sure that the economy stayed reasonably buoyant, and they want to get it all going again. And then they turn around and the NHS phoned me yesterday and they send me text saying you're vulnerable and you better stay at home until June the 30th. Well, what's that all about? Because when I started to talk to the lady, I said, what does it say about my Parkinson's? Oh, I didn't know you've got Parkinson's, she said. All I'm here to do is to make sure that you can actually get to the shops, or somebody can get to the shops for you. Oh, well done. And I said to her, all you want, you've got a form. I mean, she was a lovely lady. Believe me, she was a lovely lady. She was from County Antrim in Northern Ireland. Beautiful part of the world. And she was very nice to talk to. Don't misunderstand one little bit. It's the system that gets to you, that is so daft. And of course, the system is set up by those people in Westminster who haven't a clue about personal relationships or business, or they haven't a clue. They're just like the bankers. Let's take everything out of the villages, right? And then they find that there's a bug that strikes everywhere. Well, I mean, you know, what sort of thinking is it? But the joined up thinking at the moment is that the NHS have said stay put until June the 30th. Right? So, all right, I agree, I'll stay put until the 30th. But then we're helping business. Well, they're not helping me. I don't qualify for anything. And the fact this lady ultimately agreed that all she was doing was she was ticking a box. So once again, it goes into the computer and somebody says, oh, they're doing their bit. They're able to do their work, and look at that. You see the figures and the statistics bear it out of how successful we've been. Well, you haven't. You haven't been a bit successful with a lot of people, and the aftermath of this is going to be awful. However, that I really went to bed not feeling at all happy with the government. And then I said, you know, Keith, what you've been doing for a long time, locally and nationally, and for that matter internationally, is saying the government is bust. It's not fit for purpose, and the people in it aren't fit for purpose. So why do you expect anything else? Surely the best thing is to carry on and see if you can make your voice heard well enough so that you get reform. Long way off. I'm 80. I'm not going to see it, but I hope that perhaps I can stir the roots of a little bit of common sense that will infiltrate those in power who, at the sign of any panic, award themselves £10,000 to make sure that they can keep out of trouble, and then try to boast what they've done for the average man. Well, you've done sweet bugger all as far as I'm concerned, and for those people like me, and although many people have apparently on the surface benefited, you're going to pay it back in higher taxes, right? You are. and so am I, except I get nothing. So I pay back for something that I didn't get in the first place. Not only that, but one government agency is trying now to fine me because I filed a piece of paper 6 days late. I mean, that's the sort of society that we're in. The right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. And unless there is root and branch reform, which before he became Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson called for. Not anymore, haven't heard a peep out of him recently. But we need reform. We need a way of getting people in governance who care about their community, not care about the expenses they pick up. Because that's all they ever think about. Yes, it wasn't such a good idea to go when only people who could afford it could get into governance, but it's a hell of a lot better than what we've got at the moment. There's got to be something somewhere in between. Is there any think tank looking at that? No, not a bit of it. It's just idiots like me, old curmudgeons, old eccentrics, who keep on rabbiting on about the fact that the present system is not fit for purpose. And the pickle that we find ourselves in because of the virus, an attack from nowhere, unexpected, just a bit like Pearl Harbor, is maybe what was needed to make us sit up and realise just what a daft society we managed to create. And that's you and I. We've done that. Oh, so you can see, I went to bed pretty resentful. But this morning I've woken up full of piss and vinegar, as they used to say. Piss and vinegar. And let's get cracking with pulling our trousers up, pulling them on, pulling them over our knickers, and getting out there and see what we can do without government subsidy, without government aid, to stir our fellow citizens, provide a service, and somehow earn a crust. There, how's that for a start to a day? Huh. What haven't I played? This one called Blue Sky. Let's have a little blue sky, shall we? songs by unknown composers and so on. Some of them are so bloody good and they'll never see the light of day except on potty little radio stations like this. So perhaps this potty little radio station will become a potty big one. Now there's an answer to all sorts of things, isn't it? Do you know, I'm terribly sorry, but whenever I laugh, I see that the old monitor goes into red and probably knock your ears out with every time I laugh or I yell. Anyway, let's just look at where we are today. There is some suggestion that there is going to be easing. Of course, the big worry for all of us is that those people who have not been particularly good about lockdown and have flooded to the beaches and have flooded to the stores and so on, at the moment that it's eased, they actually cause a spike. And that causes the government to say, no, go back to being locked down. Because none of us want that. We want to be free. We want to get cracking. We want to do the things that we were doing in January and February and all last year. We really do. And we're being denied by this terrible little virus that marches around in packs and attacks us. And those who are so-called vulnerable, me, vulnerable, they grab us and they fling us around and end up in hospital or self-isolation with nobody to look after you, and eventually you stare death into the jaws of death. And I often wondered what that's like. I just hope that if it does happen to me, that I'll be articulate enough to tell you, and hopefully it'll frighten enough people to make them at least go responsibly on the beach. There we are. That's what we're talking about, is behaving responsibly, and people don't behave responsibly. I can remember during the war and after the war, into about 1951 or 52 is my guess, that sweets, candies, whatever you want to call them, chocolates, were all rationed, and you got enough so that you had a square a week, and a little square of Cadbury's chocolate a week. That's how it broadly measured out. Of course, if you had uncles and aunts, they made sure that you had their rations, so you didn't starve entirely. But the government decided, okay, enough is enough. We'll take sweets off ration. And within days, you couldn't find a sweet anywhere. The sweet shops were empty. The only way they really kept going